the sample melodies that you just heard were taken from a jazz song called Royal Blue by South African pianist Abdullah Ibrahim. And I used this to come up with two main melody ideas, so I'll just run through the process of sampling and then everything you can do to mess it up. So the first step I took was to look this up on TuneBat and found out that the key was in C# minor and the tempo was 88 BPM. But really I'm taking it as double time, so I set the FL playlist to 176 BPM, and then here's what it sounds like. The first step, as with any sample, is to just have the MP3, which I just grabbed through a YouTube to MP3 converter, and then once it's downloaded into your files, you just left click drag it straight into the playlist. And then to open this up in a sampler, you open the channel rack and then left click on the sample and then go down and right click on this waveform and hit open in new SliceX channel. And now you've got the song opened in SliceX. This specific method, I should say, I learned from HitGirl, so shout out to HitGirl, but it's a really simple way of making chops and then mapping them to your keyboard to make melodies, but I'll go a bit more in depth into that process. So the first step here is to left click on this arrow and then go to snap and then snap to zero crossing. And what this does is it gets rid of any clicks and pops in the sample when you start and end a loop, so it just helps keep everything clean. A big thing to keep in mind though for any kind of sample is to just try and find spaces you like without any overbearing drums or background noise. But then again, there's no rules, so if you want to keep the percussion or whatever else you want, then definitely grab them from the sample. And in a lot of cases, if there's a bunch of noise you don't want, you can just try to EQ them out, which works pretty well if the sounds are very low frequencies or really high frequencies. But anyway, let's just pick a random part to make a loop from. So I'm just going to left click and drag on this waveform. And then to hear what you've highlighted, just hit space. And then to hear it over and over again, you just hit this infinity symbol. The loops really don't need to be perfect, so just go off your ear to make the regions make some kind of sense. But to actually save what you've highlighted, go over here to the flag and the plus sign symbol and right click it. Definitely don't left click it because then it only saves the start point but not the end point, but right clicking saves both and makes a region. And now just keep doing this for however many sections of the sample you're trying to take out, and I'll just do 3 random ones just for example. And once that's done, you can take it to the piano roll by hitting this wrench button and going to convert to score and dump to piano roll. And then you just have to wait for this loading symbol to go away. And once that's finished, you can see in the channel rack that there's a randomly generated pattern. So just open that up and then scroll out to this abomination of a thing. And then hit Ctrl A and then just delete all of it. Now everything is set and you can just click through these regions. And for me, this is what my SliceX looked like with all of these mapped regions saved down here. And to view all of them, you can just hit this drop down menu and then you can play through everything that you saved. As you can see, I've got 32 regions mapped, which is extremely unnecessary, especially because I only used like 10 of them, but I guess it's cool to have the options. To actually play these regions without just clicking through them or drawing them in, you can use your keyboard, whether that's a MIDI or just like a regular computer keyboard. And region 1 should always be saved under your comma key, or also the Q key. And then the rest just follow chromatically from left to right. My keyboard literally runs out of room at like region 20, so I'd have to use the MIDI to reach number 32, or of course just draw it in if you're not recording. So that's what I did to region 21. But after messing around for a bit, I put down this melody for the first idea. Once you've got your melody, you can choose to keep it pretty raw and natural, or just completely destroy it with any effects plugin that you have, like Halftime, Glitch plugins, Shaperbox, Portal, whatever you want. There's really no rules to what you can do to the sample. Or you can try out things like reversing it, pitching it up or down, or whatever waveform ideas you can think of. For this beat though, I kept it really simple and tried to preserve what I could from the original song, until obviously I started putting down the drums. Drums-wise for the first melody, the main idea was just to clip it really hard. And to do that, you really don't need to max out the faders or add a huge effects chain to crank up the loudness if you're using high quality sounds. A saying that goes around heaps in music is that gold in equals gold out, and in this context that just means that if your sounds come already mixed, mastered and EQ'd for the sound that you're trying to get out of them, then there won't be much for you to fix. So the kit that I used heaps in this song was the Kerosene drum kit by Synthetic and St. Gabriel, but if you're going for a different sound, it's definitely worth investing in kits from producers that you like and trust. To actually make room for these drums though, I've just put this EQ on the melody, which is automated through this button onto the playlist to only turn on once the drums are hitting. With that, I just have this saturator from Brainworks called Black Box Analog Design to make it sound more full even with the EQ cuts. And this is just sitting at 45% with the air turned all the way up. This is a really nice saturator by the way, I definitely recommend it, especially when it's on sale. For some more textures, there's this open hat from the same Kerosene kit with some Pancake 2 on there, which is a really good free panning plugin if you don't already have it. And then there's this Vox and Cowbell sound effect, which has been super popular recently, which are both from a kit by Help Is Elite to add some more energy to the drums. And to make them stand out more, the Cowbell is panned slightly to the left, and then the Vox is panned slightly to the right. Now, for the second melody idea, here's the pattern that I put down. Now that arrangement of the melody feels a lot less harsh than the first idea, which is why I kind of took the route of a more new jazz kind of beat with a bunch of synth patterns from Serum, Expand, and an organ plugin called DB33. By the way, a quick note, I know I said earlier that the key was in C# minor, but you really can't always trust that, especially in jazz music where they don't give a damn about your scale. So when you take a random chop from the sample, that chop might not be in key, so if I played a C#, that might be out. So you'll just have to use your ear when adding patterns to hear what works. But anyway, here's what they sound like with the melody. And then for sound effects for this section, I've just added these very unserious sounds which kind of fit with the new jazz vibe.
Bang.
Smoke! And then I also added this classic clip from an old TV show called Get Smart. Not the movie, but shout out to you if you know the show. But I really think it fits the feel of this second melody idea, and in general I just really like the idea of like distant dialogue in music. Even if it's not audible, I just think it adds a lot of character. And for this I just EQ'd the lows out and added Fruity Reverb 2 to put it further back in the mix. And then I also just panned it so that when Agent 86 is talking, it's panned hard right. And then when Agent 99 is talking, she's panned hard left. And then when the dude on the floor is talking, it's not panned at all. So that just sounds like this.
99, look.
Max, whoever did this hit me and left the cabin just after we arrived. I heard a clip-clop go down the hallway.
You think he's dead?
Yes. What do you think?
Yes. No.
So for one, that panning is to simulate being in the middle of the conversation, but it's also just for clarity, because otherwise there's way too much going on in the center, which makes it hard for our brains to make sense of. And then yeah, that's everything, because I just kept the same drums from the first part, so I'll just let it play out. But let me know which of the two ideas was your favorite, and if you found this useful at all or enjoyed watching, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. And thanks for watching.